Storage management. So storage management we have started, and we have two options when we install the system. We have manual and automatic partitioning. If we select automatic or manual, whatever, we have to create these system partitions. Data partitions are optional. If you want, then create. If you don't want, you don't create it. System partitions are must. System partitions are like swap, slash, root, and boot. Boot for the bootable files, and slash for the whole system. Like every files and directories will go under slash. So slash needs to have a different partition. Then swap is the page file of Windows Linux machine. It is like virtual memory. It is we can say the space of the hard disk which is used as a RAM. Then we have other partitions, other system directories which we can use to create partition for them. They will all consider as a data partition, and it is optional. If you want, then you can create. Now whether you create partition for them or not, these system directories will always create, like home, where, etc, lib, bin, sbin, temp, sys, proc. These all directories will be created whether you want to create the partition for them or not. But it is recommended to don't create partition, separate partition for them, because they related to system application, so they should be in same partition. So they all will go under slash. Like slash is like your C drive, and C drive we can consider in Windows. Then other than that, this where could have a big space because it considered the lots of database kind of spaces, like database kind of application. When we install, all the data will go to this where directory, and home directory will have all the users home directory, so it can have a big space. It needs a big space. So home and where, it is recommended to create partition, separate partition for them. So automatically it will not create. It will create only home when it is when your hard disk is more than 50 GB. Otherwise it will not create. So if you want them, then you have to create it manually. One more thing, if you create partitions automatically in the installation time of installation, it will create partitions in LVM. Now LVM means logical volume management. Now why it creates in LVM and what is LVM, we are going to see this. First we will see the standard partitions. When I install the system, I select manually creating the partitions. I did create those system partitions, and manually I created the home partition, and I selected the standard partitions. I did not select LVM. We will see what is LVM. But when we do create automatically, so it will create the LVM partitions. It will not create standard partition. This is the default behavior of the Linux RHEL 7. Now for every hard disk, what we get a name for the hard disk, system name. It is called SDA. It is SATA hard disk, then it will be named as SD. If it is IDE hard disk, then it will be named as HD. A for the first hard disk, and so on. If you go on to like second hard disk, third hard disk, fourth hard disk, fifth hard disk, it will goes like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Whether it is SATA iSCSI, it will name as SDA, SDB, SDC, SDD, and if it is IDE, then it will be named as HDA, HDB, HDC, HDD. Now IDE hard disks are not used now. It is an old hard disk. Nowadays we don't use, because it does not have a big capacity of GB, and it does not support big capacities. Like it can go up to more than 80 GB, and then it is slower than SATA and iSCSI. Basically SATA hard disk we use for the desktop systems, and for the server systems we use iSCSI. So whether you are having SATA or iSCSI, it will be named as SD. Then every HDD we have device, it will get the device file under dev directory, because under dev directory we have all the device files of hardware. Now device files consist of all the information, configuration information about the hard disk, and device file will be under dev. So if you are having, then it will be under dev. So the path for your system disk will be under dev SDA. And when we do the partitions in that hard disk, like first hard disk SDA, then it will be named as SDA1, SDA2, SDA3. And the system device files will also create for the partition information in the dev directory. And these device files consist of the information about that partitions. And it will also create under the dev directory. One more thing, when you have a hard disk, you will have a partitioning style. So we have two partitioning styles, MBR and GPT, same as Windows. MBR supports 4 partitions, either primary 4, all 4 primary, or 3 primary, 1 extended. In that extended we can create multiple logical drives. MBR is bootable, that means we can install the system here, and when we install the Linux, automatically it will create the MBR, because in GPT we can't install the operating system. It is not bootable. 128 primary partitions we can create in GPT, and it is not bootable, but it supports large spaces. MBR is not supporting the large spaces more than 2 GB, it will not support. The hard disk more than 2 GB, it is not supported. In this GPT we can support the large hard disk in hexabytes. So there are some differences, but when you install the system, it will be automatically created under MBR. File systems is very important, because file system gives you the way we store the files in a system and retrieve the file in a system. It is like a table where you have all the list of it will like an index of data. So where you store any data in your system, it is the information is added into the file system index. So it will be easy for our operating system to retrieve the file and store the file. Still, apart from finding in everywhere in the hard disk. So file system is necessary or must for every storage device, whether you are using hard disk, whether you are using CD DVD, whether you are using a flash drive, any kind of storage. Now in old days everyone was using FAT, but now Windows is using NTFS, and Linux, in our Linux, it is using extended file system. Extended, first it was extended, then it comes extended 2, that is ext2 in 1993, then it comes ext3. Now there is a small difference between 2 and 3, that 2 does not have journaling feature, and in 3 ext3 we are having a journaling feature. Journaling feature do what? It provide failback, we can say failback to what? Copying the file. When you are copying the file, journaling has what? A dedicated area in the file system where all the changes are tracked. When the system crashes, the possibility of file system corruption is less because of journaling. So before copying the file into the hard disk, it will store the information about the file, like metadata information, in the journal. So our system knows that how much files are copied and how much files are remaining. How much files are copied and how much files are remaining. So when your system suddenly crashes, then it will not lose the data or corrupt the data, and it can start from the beginning, like start from the place where it was stopped. But the maximum and minimum size supported for the files and the hard disk, it is same in ext2 and ext3. And ext3 has different type of journaling. 3 type of journaling we have: journal, ordered, and write back, where metadata and content are saved in the journal, both first saved in the journal in this journal style type, both metadata, that means information about the data, and content, that means the actual data. So metadata and content both will be saved first in the journal and then in the hard disk, and in order, that means it will take time. Now in ordered way, what in ordered type, only metadata is saved in the journal, and when metadata journaled, only after writing the content to disk. This is the default one. So it will work fast because it will not save the data also in journal. It will do what? It will only copy the metadata in general, that is the information of the data, and the data will be write it into the hard disk directly. And after writing the data, it will add the information in journal. So it will be sure that the data is already copied. Write back means only metadata is saved in the journal, and metadata might be journaled either before or after the content is written to the disk. Now we can convert ext2 to ext3. If we are having ext2, then we can easily convert it into ext3 without losing the data. That means without needing of backup and restore. But now ext4 comes. This ext4 is the fourth extended file system. It came in 2008. It is for the Linux version 2.6, Linux kernel version, and it is more than that. ext3, it supports large size spaces. You can see it supports the large file subdirectories. Then it is also, without having to upgrade it, you can convert this ext3. You can use the ext3 to ext4. You can mount it as a ext4 without upgrading it. Like in ext2, we have to upgrade it into ext3, then we can use it. But here you can use it without upgrading it. Like you can mount it as a ext4. Then it introduced more features. More features in ext4, like multi-block allocation, delayed allocation, general checksum, fast FCSK. It only, that means it will allow what it these features do what? It improves the performance and reliability of the file system as compared to ext3. And one more great feature in ext4 is that if we don't want journaling, then we can make it off also. Now this was the default file system till RHEL 6. Actually in RHEL 6, it was the default file system. That means when we create and when we install the system, or when we create any partition, automatically by default it will be formatted as a ext4 file system. But now in RHEL 7, it will be formatted as a XFS file system by default. This is the high, we can say it is what? This is the high performance 64-bit journaling file system. It supports 64-bit. Rest of the things are like same ext4, and it supports more size than ext4. Now this is what 32-bit and 64-bit system it supports. It supports this number of size, but there is a drawback here in XFS, that some comparison of XFS file system is XFS file system cannot be shrunk. I will show you what that means. It cannot be shrunk, and poor performance with the deletion of large number of files. If you delete large number of files, then it will take long time to delete. Now what we did here, we check the correct partition table. That means we have installed the system, we have created the partitions, so we can check with this command. And this command shows what? It shows the number of the name of the hard disk, the size of the hard disk, and the number of partition we have, and the type of the partition we have. Now if you want to see where the partitions are mounted, then we can use the mount command. If you use mount directly, it will show all the temporary created system mount points also. That is not real partition, it's a mount point only. So if you want to see your information about the hard disk, then you can grab your hard disk name. Because I'm having only one hard disk, so I'm giving name SDA. It shows me the partition is mounted on which directory, and it shows me the file system type also, and also it shows me the default options. Then to check the mount point with the size in human readable, that means I want to see the size, like how much size is used and how much size is remaining in human readable form, then what? I will use df command, and with h it will show me the human readable form. And in case I want to see the file system also with this, then I can use extra T option. Now it shows me the whole hard disk, whole partition size used and remaining. Now if you want to see the size of used size of the any directory, then you can use du command with sh to see in human readable. So it shows the size of the used size used by the any directory that we have seen. So to see that commands, we can go to our system and we can see those commands. Like first, if you want to see current partition table, so fdisk, and this is the one. You can see the disk name, system name under dev SDA. This is the size in GB, this is the size in bytes, and this is the sectors we have. So available sectors it is showing, and a sector means what? It is the unit of 512 byte. And because of that, the sector size, logical and physical both, is what? 512 byte, and that means input output size is also 512 byte. So any data you input or output, it will be in 512 bytes. This is the label for the disk, it is DOS, and the identifier for the system. Then it shows how many partitions we have: SDA 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This star indicates that this partition is the boot partition. Remember, the first partition always be the boot partition. That means your system is booting from here, from this partition. Then it is showing you the size of the partition in sectors. Like the first partition is starting from the sector 2048 and it is ending on this sector. And if you want to see the size, it is showing in blocks also, and that means blocks means you can assume it like a byte. So you can say it is what? 587 MB. The type of the Linux, the files partition is normal Linux, and we know it is Linux, but for the system understand the type by this ID. So every type of partition will have a different ID. 83 is for normal Linux. You can see 82 is for Linux swap. That means this partition is used as a swap. And now this partition is what? Extended. Now I created only 4 partitions, but now here it is showing 5 partition because it is showing this extended partition. Why? Because this is the installed hard disk. Like I have installed the operating system here, and because I installed it, this partition, this hard disk is in MBR style, MBR partitioning style. In an MBR partitioning style, we can create only 4 partitions, whether it is primary or extended. So if you create primary, you can create 4 primaries, and if you want to create extended, you can create only 1 extended. Extended means what? If you want to have more than 4 partition, then you have to create extended. If you want only 4, then you can create all 4 as a primary. But if you want more than 4, then you have to create 1 extended. Automatically do that. Like when I create first partition, so it is primary, second is also primary, third is also primary. Now when I create fourth partition, now system knows like there is lots of space is remaining and I'm not using the whole space. I'm using only 4 GB from that 36 GB or 40 GB. So it do what? It use the all space and create the extended partition. You can see it is using the whole space from the sector. It was ended here, the third one. So it is starting from there and it is using till the end. Till the end, that means the total sectors we have here. So it used the whole size, available size here, and then in that size, then in the extended partition, it created that fourth partition. Now this one is not a partition, not a partition, it is a logical drive under the extended partition. Now I can create multiple logical drives. And remember, you can't use extended because in extended you create logical drives, and that logical drives you can use. And that can be a normal partition also. That can be that works as a normal partition. Now if you are having EXGPT, then you can create unlimited 128 partitions. So there is no need for the extended partition in that. And all partitions can be a primary partitions. Now if we want to see where these partitions are mounted, then we can use mount command. And now you can say it is showing all the system mount points also. So I don't want them. So I will use grab command. And then I say I want to see my hard disk partition SDA. And it is showing what? This SDA1 is mounted on boot. The file system type is XFS. I told you the default is what? XFS here. And these are the default options. Read, write, and these and that. Then SDA2 is mounted on slash, and it is also XFS, and it is also having these default options. Then SDA3 is mounted on home, and is also XFS and read, write options and default options. Now it is not showing 4 partition because 4th partition is the extended partition, you can't use it. And the 5th partition, because 5th partition is swap. Swap will not mount on any directory. Swap will always be, swap will mount on a system file. It's a system swap file. So it will used as a swap, so it will not mount on any directory. If we want to see the size in detail, so we use df command -h. H for human readable. Now you can see, and you can also see those temporary partitions also. These are mount points, not a partitions. Now this is the partition 1, 473 MB, 153 used, 320 remaining mounted on boot. 2, 46 GB total, 4.4 GB use, 43 GB free, 10% use mounted on slash. SDA3 19 GB, 62 MB use, 19 GB free, 1% use mounted on home. Then the others are what? System drive, system partition, system mount points. One more, it is showing the CD DVD also because it is connected. So if the CD DVD is connected, it shows there. It shows here on the desktop, it is just a link, but it is actually mounted on what? So it is actually mounted here. You can see the total size of the data we have in the DVD and total use because it's a read only DVD. No free space, 100% use, and actually it is mounted here under slash run media and with the name of the user. If the root is login, so it shows root. If it is other user, user 1, user 2, then it will show the user name here, the directory of that user. And then in that directory, this is the directory where the disk is mounted. It shows on desktop, it's just a link because it's a graphical, but actually it is mounted here. If you want to see the partitions file system also, then you can add extra hyphen capital T and it shows the extra category type where you can see the file system also, that is XFS. And this ISO 9660 is for the DVD file system. So DVD is also like a storage device, so it uses this file system. ISO 9660 standard partition developed by ISO. In Windows it uses UDF for the disk. Now if you want to see any individual directory size, then you use du-sh and the directory name. For example, I want to see etc size. It is showing that it is using 37 MB. You can see any other directory, like I want to see var directory. It is using 327 MB. Now inside var directory, I want to see how many size used by log directory. So it is using only 7.2 MB from this slash. Remember, these all directories are under slash, so their data will go under slash. Now I want to create new partition. These are the partitions which is already created. Now why I need to create the partition? For example, this is the whole file system we have, and these are all system directories. Now suppose I want to store some data here. Let's say I want to store movies here, and I have lots of movies to store here. Now what if I store in any of these directory? That means I'm using the system storage, I'm using the system directory. So I will create new directory for my movies. Now remember, I created the directory. Now remember, where is the path? I created this directory under slash. That means if I put any data here, it will go under slash. If I don't give slash, then it will be created under the present working directory, and that means it will be created under root. Now again, root is not having any separate partition, so root is under slash, so the data will go again in slash. So whether I create anywhere in the anywhere in the file system, it always go to slash unless it is having the other partition. Now if I if I put lots of movies here in this directory, so it will use the space for the system files, because it will go into slash partition, the partition which is mounted on slash, and all the other system directories are also under slash. So it is like storing your movies in C drive. In Windows, you are storing your movies in C drive. That means you're using your system partition space, and that you don't want. So what you can do, you can create separate partition for this. You can do this if you have installing the system, but if you have already installed, then also if you are having a available space, then you can create the partition. Now remember, we are creating standard partitions. So why we create new partitions? We create new partition to store data. Now if we want to store data in our Linux system, for example, I want to store movies. Now what? So if I create separate directory for my data, it will still go under slash root slash directory, which is for our system files. So this is for our system file, and it will go still under slash. So what I do, I will create So I should create separate partition for my data. Like D drive in Windows, just like D drives we have in Windows. So what? So now what? Now we will see how we can create the partition, create a new partition. So to create new partition in our first hard disk. Now in our first hard disk, that means /dev/sda. Now one more thing we have to note here, that what the first hard disk is our system disk, that is we have installed the system here, and we have created 4 partitions with that installation. Now when we created the 4 partition there, that means what, we have already used 3 primary partitions we have already created, and 1 extended is already created there, and in that extended we have already created 1 logical drive. Now whatever the partition I create now in that, it will always be what, this logical drive. That means it will not give me option to create primary or extended drive, it will directly create what, logical drive. So let me note here, in a first partition, first hard disk, which is having our installation, and in that already 3 primary and 1 extended partition is created. Now that means what, that means now it can have only logical drives. So it will not give me any option, it will directly create logical drives. But if you have a new hard disk, if you connect a new hard disk, if you connect the fresh hard disk, suppose you are not having a space in your default, the first one, and you want more space, then you added one more hard disk that will be named as a SDB, and then you want to create new partition in that, then you will get the option to create primary or extended, and even you will get the option to create MBR or GPT. That means whether you want to create GPT style or you want to create MBR style. So I will show you that also, but first I will show you the basic one, like we will create a partition in the default hard disk, the first hard disk which we have. So for creating the partition, what we do, we use the command fdisk. After fdisk, you will mention the name of your hard disk. Now remember, whatever the name is, we know the names will be under dev and then slash, and then it will be the name. Now name, if you are having a hard disk 1, SDA, if you are having second hard disk, SDB, third C, D, E, F, so on. So I'm having one hard disk, so I will say SDA, and then you will press enter. Now when you press enter, when you press enter, you will be in fdisk commands. Fdisk, you can say you will be in fdisk tool, and here only fdisk commands will work. So when you enter into fdisk, then only fdisk commands will work and other commands will not work. Other commands like normal Linux commands will not work. Now what is the fdisk commands? So fdisk commands are very simple. It will ask you the question and you just have to answer it by the options, the commands. That is what, pressing the A, N, R like this. Like in VI editor, what we do when we enter into the VI editor, so in command prompt we will be under the VI editor and the commands of the VI will work. Normal Linux commands will not work. So if you want to do that, so let's see, I will create new partition here. So we know the name of our hard disk, so I will use fdisk /dev sda. Now when I press enter, it says welcome to fdisk. It is utility of Linux 2.23.2. Then it says changes. This is the version of the fdisk it is showing here. Then it is showing that changes will remain in memory only until you decided to write them. So remember, whatever the changes you do here, that means you create partitions, you delete partitions, you modify it. So whatever you do, they all will be in memory until you decided to save them. So be careful. What is it saying here? Be careful before using the right command. You may corrupt your system, like you will delete your partitions. Remember, you may delete the partitions here. You can delete all the partitions here. And then when you, after saving it, it will still work. And after rebooting it, it will go down and it will never start. So be careful what you are doing, because you are doing it in your system drive, system disk, where you are having an installation also. So if you delete anything, you will not be able to recover and you can corrupt your partition, you can corrupt your system. And if you do misconfiguration, it will go into grub mode where it will not find anything. Then you have to fix it. Now what it is showing here, now it is saying give me the commands. Now I said the fdisk commands will work and the normal commands will not work. Now what it is saying, give me commands here. So here you have to give commands. Now if you don't know anything about the commands which works here in fdisk, then you can press M. This M for help. So when you press M, you will get the list of commands of this fdisk. Now what are these commands? So first you will do what? Press M for help. So this is what you will do first. So you will get the help. Now what these options are? Now remember, these options, all options will not be available, not will work here in Linux also, because this is actually, this fdisk is also available in other distributions also. So some of them will not work here. Like for example, here it is saying first is what? Toggle the bootable flag. First one is to toggle the bootable flag. Bootable flag, that means if you remember, when I run fdisk command, where is it? So when I run this fdisk command, if you remember what it shows here, this is the bootable flag and it is set to this partition of the first hard disk. And that means what? Our system is booting from here, from this hard disk and from this partition of the hard disk. Now if suppose we are having 2 or 3 hard disks, and if that hard disk are also having the bootable image, and you want to boot your system from that second or third hard disk, then what, you can go to that hard disk with using fdisk, and then you can add the toggle this bootable flag there by using the a command. In that case you can use this a command to add or remove the bootable flag. It will ask that which partition you want to add the bootable flag. Now then next command is what? B. Now this command is to edit the BSD disk label. Now BSD is also a type of Linux, BSD Linux, BSD Unix. So if you are using this on that system, then you will use it to edit the label of BSD disk. Now in this we don't have it. We have what? The Linux system where we have a label of the disk is DOS. Now the third command is C. It is to toggle the DOS compatibility flag. Now DOS is used in old system. If you know the old Windows system, it was called diskless operating system. It was Windows DOS. But there was a separate DOS also. It is called diskless operating system. Now if you are having a system with DOS file system and DOS partitioning style, and you want to compatible with that, and you want to be compatible with this, so then you can do what? You can enable the flag for compatibility. But now we don't use it. Now nobody use it. So what it is, it has been removed actually. So it has been removed. It is showing the command. But if I try this command to enable or disable the flag, it will say that it is deprecated and it should not use. I will show you this. If I press C and enter, what it says here, DOS compatibility flag is set, but also it is saying deprecated, should not use and will not work. So again I will remove it. Now it is not set. So that is what C, not use, and we will not use that command. Now this will be used, and this is useful. D. D is to delete a partition. If you want to delete any partition, you will use D. Now G is to create a new empty GPT partitioning table. Remember GPT partitioning is style. So if you want to create this machine, this partition, this hard disk as a GPT, then you can use G. Now remember, you can do this only when you are having a fresh hard disk where there is no partitions. This hard disk contained a partitions and you can't do this. This is for a fresh hard disk. Now we have a separate command for that also. We don't have to use this here. Now capital G is to create an Iris CGI partitioning table. Now this is also a kind of partitioning table which we don't use. These are for other kind of Unix systems. So this command will also not use here. Now L is to list the known partitioning types. Now what partitioning type our fdisk can support? Remember, I'm not saying Linux, I'm saying our fdisk. Fdisk command can create how many different type of partitions. Now the type of partitions which our Linux system support, that currently our Linux system support, it depends on the availability of that we can say softwares or support packages. So if you are having a supporting software for the related partitioning style or related partition type, then you can create those partitions. But fdisk can create n numbers of different type of partitions. It only create the raw partitions. Let's see this. If I put L option, so you can see the different type of partitions it can create, the fdisk can create, and you can see this system ID of those partitions. 0 is empty, it can create fat, it can create NTFS also. You can see it can create NTFS, which is supported in Windows. Then it can create lots of different partitioning styles like NEC DOS. You can see here these are different type of operating systems. These are there are some NetBSD, Darwin Boot, HFS, BSD, IFS. Lots of are there. These are like Prima IDX, SpeedTor, Novel NetWare, Minix, and it is Linux swap here also. It is there, Linux swap, and you have normal Linux partition, and there are many of them. And you can see the system ID also. Now remember, suppose I create NTFS partition here with fdisk, so it will create NTFS, but we can't use it. Now why we can't use it? Because currently our system does not support this NTFS. It needs a separate application for that. It needs a separate software for that. That means fdisk will create the raw partition which does not contain any file system. And for using the partition you need to have a file system, and for creating the file system you need an application, and you need a software for that of support the NTFS. That means after creating the partition of NTFS, you have to format it with the file system NTFS, and for that our Linux system currently this RHEL7 does not support. You can install the features here after, or you can do that. You can create any of these partitioning style, but by default right now it does not have even NTFS also. So it can create, the fdisk can create these numbers of partitions, these numbers of different styles of partition type, but our system right now does not support. I will show you what type of partitions it will support only. Again M. So this is to list all the known partitioning types, and it is not necessary that all the types we can create right now. Then M to print this menu, that is the help menu. Then this is useful, that is to create new partition. Then O to create new empty DOS partitioning table. Now it is already DOS, it is already a DOS label here in this hard disk. P to print the partition table, that means current partition table, which we use fdisk-l command. We can do here by using only P, and it is showing the current partitioning table with the information of disk. This P option. Then the next option is Q. Now Q is to quit without saving the changes. Remember, whatever you do the changes, it will not save until you save it. And if you don't want to save, suppose you did some changes, you delete, you create, but you don't know what you did, then just don't save it. Just press Q and come out. So no changes will be saved and nothing will be applied. So because don't corrupt your system. If you don't know what you did, just Q and come out. Then S is to create a new label. So S is to create empty Sun disk label. Now Sun is another type of Linux. It is called Sun Solaris. It is owned by Sun Microsystem. So it can create for that also, which we don't create here. Now T is to change the partition system ID. Now partition system ID, that means this IDs. Now remember, we are in this Linux RHEL7, and whenever we create any partition in this, by default it will be normal Linux. It will not be NTFS. It will not give you option to create this NTFS or any other type. It will always create this normal Linux with 83. So if you want to create NTFS, then what you have to do, First you have to create the normal partition, it will be 83, and then you have to use this T option to change the partition system ID to another number. Like for example, you want to create NTFS, so the number is 7 and the default is what, 83. So you will create the partition, it will be 83, and then you want NTFS, then you will change it with 7, and you can do it with this T option. You can do this by using this T option. U option is to change the display entry unit. Now display entry unit is this. It is displaying it in sectors, but you can change it to cylinder also. Now cylinders are also deprecated. The unit cylinders are also deprecated. Now it only works with these sectors. So if I change it again, it will say deprecated, but it is changed to cylinders, but now it is not used. Cylinders means if I use now P command, now you can see it is showing the cylinders here. Like the first partition is started from 1 cylinder to 61 cylinder, then 61 to 6 140, then 6 140 to this, but it is now deprecated, no use. Sectors are used, so again I will change it to sector. Then this V is to verify the partition table, that means the available space. If you check this, so right now we have this remaining sectors unallocated, so we have some space remaining there. Then this is to write and exit, that means save and exit. Save and exit, and that is what, if you want to save and if you are sure what you have done, then you can save and exit. And this X is for the extra functionality, and what it is saying here, it is for expert only. Right now we are not experts, so we will not use this one. This is only for experts. So these are the options we have, these are the commands we have for the Linux, the fdisk. Now I want to create the new partition, so what I am going to use is this n command. Now remember, it is already having what, 3 primary and 1 extended, so it will not ask me anything, it will directly create the logical drive. So when I press N and enter, now what it is saying here, that all primary partitions are in use, and what it is doing, it is adding the logical partition, that is number 6, because number 5 is already there. Now it is showing you that where you want to start. First sector. Now first sector, that means we have available sectors from here to here. That means if you say like your available space is like from here to here. Now it is showing where you want to start. It is asking you that where you want to start. Are you want to start from the beginning, or you want to start it from somewhere in the middle? You can do that and leave the some space in the beginning, but we don't do that normally. We always start it from the beginning. Now starting from the beginning, that means by default it is using that beginning one, the first sectors, the starting sector for the available space. Now if you want, then you can use this default one, which is actually the starting sector, available sector, or you can type what you want, where you want to start. You want to start it from the middle, then you can type here. You can type here if you want to start from the middle. I don't want to start from the middle, I want to start from the starting sector, which is available starting sector. So I will press directly enter. Now what it is saying, that it is saying using the default value. Now it is saying now is it is using the default value for the first sector. Now it is saying where you want to end, what is your last sector. So again you are having this available, and where you want to end. So it is saying, do you want to end on the last sector? That means you want to end, you want to use the whole space. So if you want to use the all available space, you can just press enter. Now if you don't want, if you want to have a space, specific space, like I am having 20 GB remaining and I have 20 GB available space and I want to create a partition of 5 GB. So what I will put a sector numbers which I want to use. So I can give a space like this. Remember to give plus, then the number of sectors. Like I will mention plus here, then I will mention the number of sectors. Now number of sectors, that means for 5 GB how many sectors I need. How many sectors, that means is one sector is 512 byte. Now you have to calculate for 5 GB how many sectors we need, because 1 GB a 512 byte is a one sector, and if you use two sector then it will be 1 KB, and four sectors 200 sectors will be 1 MB, I think so. 2000 sectors will be 1 MB maybe. Okay, it is very hard to calculate that. So it is giving you another easy option, which is you can use the size like KB, MB and GB also. So whatever the size you want, you can give it like KB, MB and GB also. So for example, I want to create a partition of 1 GB. So I will give 1 G. That means I want to create a partition of 1 GB. And then I will press enter. Now what is it saying here? Partition 6 of type Linux. Remember, it always create type Linux, and the size of 1 GB is set. So this is how you can create new partition. So you will get like this. And your partition will be created. Now if you want to check, then you can use P option, and it shows that you have created this number 6 partition, and you can see it is normal Linux partition, it is 83. And then you can save and exit, and if you don't want to save, then you can quit directly without saving it. So I want to save it, so what I will do, I will press W and exit. So I saved it. So what it says here, the partition table has been altered, and calling the input output control to read the partition table. Now it is calling the input output to read the partition table because the table is now changed. We have a new partition here, and it has to be updated in kernel. Now what is giving me a warning here? It is giving me that rereading the partition table failed with the error 16 because device or resources are busy. Now what that means is that in this hard disk, these first 5 partitions are already in use. They are mounted and they are in use. And when I try to update this new partition, it is not able to update because the existing partitions are used, the hard disk is used. Now we can't stop this because this is what system drives and system partitions. We can't stop them, we can't unmount them, we can't remove them to update this sixth partition. So what we can do here, the kernel will still use the old table. Now new partition will not be updated. The new table will be used at next reboot. That means for the updating this partition, we have to reboot. We have to reboot our system to update. Now we don't remember, this is what server, and server should not be rebooted every time. So Linux is giving you another option. It is not like Windows you have to reboot. In this you can do or. If you don't want to reboot, then you can do what? Or after run the part probe or k part x command. Both are same. So you can run this command to update the kernel. So remember, when you do this, when you create a partition, you will run this part probe command with the name of the hard disk. And now it is updated. So after this, what you have to do, you have to save it. And after saving it, it will be altered. But don't forget to run what? To update new partition table in kernel, we have to run what? Part probe with dev sda. So we have to run part probe with this so that it will be updated in the kernel. Now it is updated and now we can use the partition. But remember, if you want to use the partition or any storage device, you need a file system. And without file system, you can't use any partition. So after creating the partition, what you have to create? After creating the partition, you have to create file system to use the partition. Otherwise you can't do this. And to create file system, we will use the command mkfs dot, and now you can see which file systems by default our Linux supports. It supports only these like B3FS, ext234, Minix, VFAT, XFS, MS-DOS, and CREMFS. There is no NTFS, FAT. It can support FAT also. There is no NTFS and there is no other file systems it supports. So we can create those partitions, but those are remain raw partitions like this SDA6. It will not be used until we create the partition file system. And file system you can only create after you update your kernel, and after update you update the related binaries and related softwares. So if you want NTFS, then you have to update your kernel. For that you have to add the binaries, that means these commands for making a file system, and you have to add the software to support the NTFS, and then you can add NTFS also. So right now what I will create the file system of XFS, which is our default one, and then you will mention the name of the partition you created. So I created SDA6, and this is to create the file system. Now, after creating the file system, what we have to do after creating the file system, what we have to do, we have to mount it on directory. Remember, in Linux system there is no way to use any partition directly like Windows. You have to mount it on any directory to use it. So for after doing the partition, after creating it, after making the file system, now we can do what? We can we can use it, and we can do what? We can mount it on a directory. So we have created one directory there for mounting it. So now how we will mount it? So for mounting it, we use the command mount, and then we will mention the partition name which we created, and then we will mention the directory name where we want to mount the partition. So we have created the directory already. So now what I will do, I will use mount command dev sda6, which will mount on movies. And now it is mounted, and now we can use it. Now use it means, now if I store any files in this directory, it will be stored in this partition. The directory will still show under slash, but the data will go to this partition. And we can verify by using the mount command, where we can grab SDA, and now we can see the SDA6 is mounted on movies with the type XFS, and the default options are already there. You can use df command also, and you can see this new mounted partition. And now you can do what? To verify, we can use what? We can use df-ht command. Now if we store any file in that directory, so I will go to movies, and there is no files. I will create one file there, file1. Now there is a file there, and now this file is not under this it is not under slash, it is going into that partition. So when I list movies, I can see the file. Now the file is not under slash, it is under that partition. So if I unmount it, so we can do unmount also, that means remove the partition from the directory. So for that you can do umount. Now either you can use the partition name, or you can use the directory name, both you can do. I'm using the partition name. This is to unmount. Now when I check the directory, now you can see there is no file. Now file is not deleted, file is actually in the partition, and file will delete when I remove the partition, or I delete the partition, or even I format the partition, like I recreate the file system. So it will not delete, it is still there. If I mount it again, you will see the file again. Now I mounted again, now you can see the file again, because the file is in there under the partition. And we can unmount by using the directory name also, both will work. Now it is not showing file. Now again when I mount, it shows the file. So this is how you can do create the file. For unmount partition, you can use umount. umount, and then you can use div slash sda6, or or you can use unmount and directory name. So both will work. Either you give the partition name or you give the directory name, both will work. So this is how you can create new partition and you can use new partition. Now we did created in the new hard disk. It is we have created in already already we are having the hard disk, the system disk. In that we have created it, and that is why it gives me only the option to create logical drive. If we create the partition in the new fresh disk, then it will give me option to create primary partition or extended partition and so on. Now it is not finished. It has remaining something, and that we will see next time.